Brhad Bhagavatamrita, Part 2, Chapter 5. We're in Dwaraka with Narada Muni and Uddhava, and of course Gopakumar. And we're beginning with verse 108, auspicious 108. Narada is launching a series of verses that are describing Krishna in Vrindavan. Before Gopakumar gets there, he's getting warmed up. No one can describe the glories of his beauty, but still I shall speak about them, the glories of his beauty, as far as I am able. His beauty amazes even him. Seeing him, the cows, birds, bushes, creepers, and trees all become ecstatic. Commentary. Beauty is next in the list of the Supreme Lord's opulences in Gokula. In text 108 through 111, Narada speaks of that beauty. Because the beauty Krishna showed during his appearance in Vrindavan had never before been seen in this world, no one was able to explain it in terms of previous experience. Uddhava describes that astounding beauty in the third canto, 3:2-12. Quote, Lord Krishna, in his eternal form, just suitable for his pastimes, appeared in the mortal world by his internal potency, Yogamaya. His pastimes were wonderful for everyone, even for those proud of their own opulence, including Krishna himself, in his form as the Lord of Vaikuntha. Thus, Sri Krishna's transcendental body is the ornament of all ornaments. Bhushana Bhushanangam. Upon seeing Krishna, the moving and non-moving creatures of Vrindavan would show the symptoms of prema, including the sattvika ecstasies of horripilation, floods of tears, and so on. As the young gopis told Krishna at the beginning of their Rasa Leela, Dear Krishna, what woman in all the three worlds wouldn't deviate from religious behavior when bewildered by the sweet, drawn-out melody of your flute? Your beauty makes all three worlds auspicious. Indeed, even the cows, birds, trees, and deer manifest the ecstatic symptom of bodily hair standing on end when they see your beautiful form. 109. My dear boy, in beauty, character, virtues, and behavior, the women of Braja excelled even the supreme goddess of fortune. All women of respectable families worshipped their feet. Yet, even so, Krishna's beauty robbed the women of Braja of their sobriety. Commentary. To inspire Gopakumar to listen carefully to this important narration, Narada here uses the affectionate word tata, my dear boy. Krishna's beauty shook the gopis' determination to uphold their religious principles, but not because the gopis were simply women, who by nature are supposedly unsteady. The gopis of Braja were reputable, cultured ladies in a respectable society. So They were not inclined to careless behavior. They were equal to Lakshmi, the best of women, and even better. They were more beautiful and more sublime in their gravity and shyness. They were more capable of making proper decisions, maintaining firm determination, and expertly dealing with all kinds of situations, and they were more competent in the various activities of worshiping their beloved. Narada therefore uses the interjection hanta, or indeed, to express his surprise and delight. 110. Seeing his beauty, people would curse Brahma, the creator of eyelids, and praise Indra, who had 1,000 eyes, and hanker for all their senses to become eyes. What extraordinary states would anyone not attain upon seeing his beauty? Commentary: Sri Gopaladev's beauty not only stole the sobriety of the gopis, his dearmost girlfriends, but also drove other people to extraordinary states of consciousness. The Vrajabasis cursed Brahma for creating lids on their eyes that made it more difficult to see Krishna constantly. And even though Indra had committed many offenses against Krishna and was deformed because of Gautama Rishi's curse, the Vrajabasis glorified him, for they admired his having 1,000 eyes on his body, eyes with which he could enjoy seeing Krishna that much more. The Vrajabasis prayed that all their own senses could change into eyes, so that with those eyes they could see Krishna even more, and no competing senses would distract their eyes from the sight of Krishna's beauty. Very poetic. Text 11, this is the final of the beauty verses. Kim Varnyatam, how can I describe Brajabhuva? How can I describe the greatness of the land of Braja, where the personality of Godhead displayed his own beautiful form? He may possess the same transcendental nature everywhere, but even in his company, the devotees in other places don't feel the same ecstasy. Commentary: the beauty Sri Krishna displays in Brajabhumi is never seen anywhere else. No matter where he goes, his transcendental nature is changeless, and he is always the same person, semicolon. But devotees in other places, like Vaikuntha and Dwaraka, do not taste from seeing him and being with him the same exquisite feelings of love as the Brajavasis. Thus, we should understand that the personality of Godhead reveals selected aspects of his supreme greatness in particular times and places. And Brajabhumi is supremely glorious for one reason or another. Krishna chooses, in some instances, to show his eternal glories, and in others, to allow his personal energies to conceal them. Narada's sentiment to this effect was closely paralleled by the words Gopakumar had earlier heard on Janaloka from Pipalayana Rishi, 2-100. Quote, the Supreme Lord, by nature the bestower of ecstasy, creates such unlikely situations to delight his devotees by showing them the greatness of devotional service. Okay. And I'm pondering what's the connection between that and the previous topic. Oh, yeah, it's the previous topic because his personal energies conceal his eternal glories. So again, Pipalayana, the Supreme Lord by nature, the bestower of ecstasy, creates such unlikely situations to delight his devotees by showing them the greatness of devotional service. So he doesn't always show. 112. Whatever age he appears to be, he always maintains the special charm of childhood. Childhood. Shaishava. Shaishava. The Kumara age. He accepts service from the pastimes of mature youth, Kaishore, and he also partakes of the attractiveness of adolescence. At every moment, his personal qualities appear newer and newer. Commentary. Since youth is a cause of beauty, Narada now takes the liberty to discuss the variety of ages in which Krishna performs his pastimes. No matter how old Krishna may be, he always has the special qualities of childhood. Dash. Extreme gentleness, naughty behavior, absence of facial hair, and so on. Since Krishna is always clever and skillful like a mature young adult, and yet he always displays the qualities of a 15-year-old adolescent, with such an extraordinary combination of attractive features from all ages of youth, of young life, Krishna enchants his devotees more and more at every moment. Thus, attraction to Krishna never becomes stale, and those who see him are never satiated. Paragraph. Although Narada here mentions mature youth, Yovana, Krishna doesn't appear in that age until after he leaves Braja. In Braja, Krishna appears in 3 ages: Komara, from birth until the end of the 5th year; Poganda, after 5 years to the end of the 10th; and Kaishora, after 10 years until the end of the 15th. In both of these 2 earlier ages, he performs pastimes more appropriate to the latter, that is, Kaishora age. And then, after killing the demon Keshi, he actually enters that age. I'll read it again. In both of the 2 earlier ages, it doesn't say Bala, it says Komara and Poganda. In both of the 2 earlier ages, he performs pastimes more appropriate to the latter, or Kaishora age, and then after killing the demon Keshi, actually enters that age. Okay. For this reason, and because Nard is particularly attracted to Krishna in the Kaishora age, Nard especially describes it. There's like so many different opinions or realizations or comments by our acharyas about how old was Krishna when he manifested this and that and the other thing, age-wise. So here's another one. 113. What no one before had ever done, what he himself had never done, under any pretext or in any circumstance, and what till then had been impossible for anyone, all this he did in Braja during his all-attractive childhood pastimes. Commentary. Of the topics listed in text 103, two remain to be discussed. First, Ashesha Mahatva Madhuri, or the sweetness of his all excellent qualities. The sweetness of his all excellent qualities. Ashesha Mahatva Madhuri. And the second, still to be discussed, Vilasa Lakshmi, the splendor of his pastimes. Following the principle of Madhurena Samapayat, one should end with a sweet note, Srila Sanatana prefers to save his description of Ashesha Mahatva Madhuri for last. Thus, he now enters the topic of Vilasa Lakshmi, or the splendor of his pastimes. No person of the material world, not even Lord Brahma, Rudra, or any demigod, has ever done anything similar to the wonderful deeds Krishna performed in Vrindavan. Not even the Supreme Lord's other incarnations, including Sri Nrsingadev and Sri Ramachandra, have pastimes that can compare to Krishna's. In Vaikuntha, the Supreme Lord has never enacted these pastimes or even tried to make a show of imitating them. Before the Lord unveiled in Vrindavan his all-attractive childhood activities, he never so easily killed demons and distributed his pure devotional service. Okay. One 14. All those pastimes are an ocean of nectar. And though my tongue is always eager to relish their sweetness, it is terrified of drowning in them. His tongue. A person should never proceed with something impossible. Commentary here, Narada shifts the blame for his rash eagerness to his uncontrollable tongue. But in fact, the greed to relish the rasa of Krishna's Vrindavan Leela is his own. Narada may think that his tongue is fearful of saying too much, either because it is incapable of speaking properly or because it is embarrassed to speak in front of others. Either way, in fact, it would be perfectly proper for his tongue to drown in the nectar ocean of Krishna's pastimes. Narada's speech is but poetic irony. His tongue is not at all ashamed of what it is about to do. 115. Whose heart would not be stolen when he is drunk, even once through his ear holes, the nectar of all those pastimes? My tongue therefore wants to proceed, and its restlessness no longer lets me maintain my shyness. At the age of 3 months, Krishna lay under a large cart and broke it with his tender foot, and then he cried for breast milk. On 2 occasions, he showed his mother the whole universe within his mouth. Commentary. In texts 116 through 137, Narada summarizes many of the pastimes of Krishna described in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Anyone who wants more details about these pastimes can consult that greatest of scriptures. The first major pastime, the deliverance of Putana, Narada has already mentioned while glorifying Krishna's merciful nature. The summary begins, therefore, with the breaking of the cart. The cart that infant Krishna was lying under was a large one, as indicated here by the word sthulam. As Shukadev Goswami describes, it was so big that several strong cowherd men were needed to lift it up again after Krishna knocked it down. 10:7:12 reads, "The strong, stout cowherd men assembled the pots and paraphernalia on the handcart and set it up as before." Paragraph. After his miraculous deed of knocking down the cart, Krishna cried for his mother to come and feed him her milk. It is amazing to contemplate that a person with such unequaled power can also cry for his mother's breast milk. And from another point of view, it is amazing also that Krishna dared ask his mother for milk after destroying the cart that was virtually the most valuable possession of the household. Baby Krishna twice showed Mother Jasoda the universe within his mouth, once while drinking from her breast, and again after she accused him of eating dirt. How much more amazing it is, then, that a person who can perform such miracles can also cry for his mother's milk. Paragraph. After the killing of the Trinavarta demon, Mother Yashoda had visions of the universal form within Krishna's mouth on two different occasions. They are mentioned together in this verse to highlight how wonderful it is that this powerful Krishna was crying helplessly for milk. Krishna's Goloka Vrindavan pastimes are supremely splendid and charming because they combine the ultimate display of God's power with the ultimate display of his sweetness. 117. May you be protected by his pastimes of killing Trinavarta and crawling around in charming ways and stealing butter and yogurt to satisfy the gopis. Commentary: the pronouns ya, sa, or those very same, imply that these pastimes are extremely famous, extremely amazing, and extremely attractive. Sri Narada prays that these pastimes protect Gopakumar, protect him from all kinds of fear, and perhaps from becoming too bewildered by the ecstasy that arises from hearing the pastimes of Krishna's infancy. Paragraph. Narada Muni's presentation now focuses on the sweetness of Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. He skips mentioning pastimes that do not highlight this sweetness, such as the name-giving ceremony performed by Garga Rishi. Krishna did not do anything special in that pastime, in which Garga told Nanda and Yasoda of Krishna's glories. "118. May I be protected by the clever glances he cast at his mother in apparent fear when the gopis complained to her, by the delight he showed in eating dirt, and by the games he played while his mother churned yogurt." Commentary: like an ordinary child, Krishna exposed his fear by glancing quickly from side to side. Sri Narada has already described that when Mother Yashoda rebuked Krishna for eating dirt, he showed her the universe within his mouth. After that pastime, Srimad Bhagavatam continues with the glorification of Nanda and Yashoda's good fortune. But in that narration, Krishna is not active. So Narada does not refer to it. Next, comes the all-auspicious Damodar Leela, described in this and the following two texts. Narada did mention this pastime earlier, but only briefly to help illustrate how Krishna submits himself to the control of his devotees. Paragraph. While Mother Yashoda churned milk, baby Krishna would play such pranks as holding on to the churning rod. 119. The Lord's crying, his breaking the yogurt pots, his stealing fresh butter from the storage pots hanging from the ceiling, his running away in fear of his mother, and his restlessly looking about with fear in his eyes are all very wonderful. 120. May my mind be enchanted by his dragging the mortar to which his mother had tied him with ropes around his belly, by his felling the Arjun trees, and by his bestowing a benediction, even while tied in that way. Commentary. While still bound tightly to the mortar with the strong ropes used to bind cows, Krishna graciously blessed the reformed sons of Kuvera. Oh, Nalakuvara and Manigriva, now you may both return home. Since you desire to be always absorbed in my devotional service, your desire to develop love and affection for me will be fulfilled. And now you will never fall from that platform. (121) While tending the calves and playing in the Vrindavan forest, he killed Vatsa and Baka. He adorns himself in forest dress and imitates the sounds of the animals. May that first guru in the art of flute playing protect me. Commentary. Krishna performed his earliest pastimes, just described by Narada in the forest called Mahavan. This verse begins the description of his pastimes in the largest of Vraja's 12 forests, Vrindavana. Narada calls Krishna the Adi Guru of flute players, because it was during these pastimes that Krishna perfected the art of playing the flute. While in the forest, Krishna and his friends would collect the peacock feathers, gunja berries, and other items with which Krishna would be decorated. 122. I worship the pastimes he performed in the early morning when he entered the Vrindavan forest with his calves and friends. Most relishable pastimes, such as entering the mouth of a great serpent after pondering in various ways. Commentary. On what began as a typical cow grazing morning, the mighty demon Agha, in the form of a gigantic snake, confronted Krishna's cowherd friends. The boys, having decorated themselves with festive forest attire, were in a very playful mood. After amusing themselves by stealing one another's lunch bags and teasing the monkeys and other animals, they were looking for another game when they spotted Agha lying in the path with his gaping mouth, inviting them to enter. Krishna watched helplessly as they marched into the demon's mouth, and he began to think, now what is to be done? How can both the killing of this demon and the saving of the asuras be performed simultaneously. Krishna, being unlimitedly potent, decided to wait for an intelligent means by which he could simultaneously save the boys and kill the demon. Then he entered the mouth of Aghasura. So that's an interesting translation. I'm not accustomed to reading that. I don't know why. Simultaneously save the boys and kill the demon. He decided to wait for an intelligent means. Anyway, these pastimes are filled with all the different rasas of loving exchange, and thus they enchant the heart of whoever hears them. One more verse, 123. My mind is utterly enchanted by the Lord's pastime of taking lunch on the grassy shore of a lake and then going off to search for the calves, his hand adorned with a lump of rice mixed with yogurt. Commentary. Lord Brahma wanted to test Krishna's greatness, so when Krishna left his friends during lunch to go into the dense forest to find the wandering calves, Brahma took the opportunity to kidnap the calves and the cowherd boys as well. Krishna had just taken from a friend's plate a lump of rice yogurt and was still carrying it when he was looking for the calves. Shukadeva Goswami says, quote, he was holding in his left hand a very nice preparation of yogurt and rice with pieces of suitable fruit between his fingers. Let me go search for the calves, Krishna said. Don't disturb your enjoyment. Then, carrying his yogurt and rice in his hand, the Supreme Personality Godhead Krishna immediately went out to search for the calves and his friends. To please his friends, he began searching in all the mountains, bushes, mountain caves, and narrow passages. In fact, Krishna was still holding that morsel in his hand a year later when Brahma came to apologize. Lord Brahma said, quote, my dear Lord, you're the only worshipable Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore I offer my humble obeisances and prayers just to please you. Oh, son of the king of the cowherds, your transcendental body is dark blue like a new cloud. Your garment is brilliant like lightning, and the beauty of your face is enhanced by your gunja earrings and the peacock feather on your head. Wearing garlands of various forest flowers and leaves, and equipped with a herding stick, a buffalo horn, and a flute, you stand beautifully with a morsel of food in your hand. 11:14:1. These are slightly different translations, which is okay. So we'll continue. Krishna's childhood pastimes in Braja. It gets to be pretty intriguing. Srila Prabhupada ki, Sanatana Goswami ki.